You are staring at a glowing screen at 2 in the morning. Your thumb is hovering over a food delivery app. In 20 minutes, a stranger will bring you a warm burrito. You feel like the master of your own destiny. But take away the phone and the heated kitchen. Now imagine you are sitting in a pitch-black forest. You are shivering in a thin wrap of animal skin. In your hands is a raw piece of fibrous meat. It is cold and tough and potentially full of parasites. You are going to spend the next 6 hours chewing. If that sounds like a nightmare, subscribe now. We deal in ancient reality here. Because your brain only exists because someone finally lit a fire. Why did our ancestors decide to stop eating everything raw? It was not because they wanted a better tasting dinner. They did it to outsource the hardest job in the world. They did it to outsource their own digestion. We often think of ancient humans as primitive brutes. We picture them wandering aimlessly and eating whatever they found. We assume they were just lucky enough to survive. But the reality is much more impressive than that. Our ancestors were brilliant biological engineers. They solved a metabolic crisis that should have killed us. They realized that the body is a high-maintenance machine. In the ancient world, energy was the only currency that mattered, and the human brain is the most expensive organ to run. It is only 2% of your body weight, yet it consumes 20% of your daily calories. This created a massive problem for early survival. You cannot have a big brain and a big digestive system. There simply is not enough energy to fuel both at once. Think of it like a strict household budget. If you spend all your money on rent, you cannot afford a car. In the ancient wild, the gut was the rent. Processing raw food takes a massive amount of energy. Raw meat and wild plants are incredibly difficult to break down. Early humans who ate only raw food needed massive digestive tracts. They needed huge stomachs and long intestines to ferment tough fibers. But a massive gut requires a huge amount of blood flow. It requires constant metabolic maintenance even when you are sleeping. So for a long time, our ancestors stayed small-brained. They were limited by the inefficiency of their own stomachs. Then everything changed with a single spark. Cooking is essentially the process of predigestion. When you apply heat to meat, the collagen breaks down. When you heat a wild tuber, the starch gelatinizes. This makes the nutrients instantly available to the body. Fire does the heavy lifting before the food hits your mouth. This allowed our ancestors to make a radical trade. Over many generations, they survived with smaller and smaller guts. They redirected that saved energy toward their expanding brains. This is known by researchers as the expensive tissue hypothesis. It is the reason you can solve a crossword puzzle. And it is the reason you do not have a giant belly. But when exactly did this transformation happen? Archaeologists have been hunting for the smoking gun for decades. There is a strange gap in the historical record. Our bodies show the effects of cooking before we find the hearths. Nearly 2 million years ago, a new human appeared. Homo erectus had smaller teeth and a much larger brain. Their rib cages were narrower, indicating a significantly smaller gut. This suggests they were already eating soft, cooked food. But finding a 2-million-year-old campfire is nearly impossible. Wind and rain usually wash away the evidence of ash. However, deep inside Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa, secrets remained. In 2026, researchers used advanced luminescence technology on the soil. They found burned bones 30 meters deep inside the cave. This fire was not a random lightning strike. It was brought deep into the darkness by human hands. This happened nearly 1.8 million years ago. It shows that our ancestors were harvesting natural fire early on. They were bringing it indoors to keep their families safe. But were they actually cooking for culinary perfection? Evidence from Gesher Beno Yaakov in Israel gives us the answer. Scientists analyzed the tooth enamel of ancient fish found there. The chemical signature showed the fish were heated low and slow. They were not just tossed into a roaring blaze. They were carefully roasted at controlled temperatures. This happened nearly 780,000 years ago. It proves that cooking was not an accident. It was a refined and practiced technology. By 400,000 years ago, humans in Suffolk were making fire. They used iron pyrite and flint to create sparks at will. They had moved from firefinders to firemakers. This gave them total control over their environment. They could now turn a toxic plant into a feast. Raw tubers often contain dangerous levels of cyanide. Heat neutralizes these toxins and unlocks the glucose inside. Some researchers argue that starches were the real brain fuel. Your brain runs almost exclusively on glucose, and cooked potatoes provided the steady energy meat could not. We even have extra copies of a specific gene for starch. It is called salivary amylase, and it appeared alongside cooking. But some suggest we started the process even earlier. In 2024, a theory proposed that we used fermentation first. Before fire, humans may have buried food to let it age. Natural bacteria would break down the tough fibers for us. This pre-chewing by microbes might have started the brain growth. It was a way to shrink the gut without using heat. Whether through fire or fermentation, the result was the same. We stopped being slaves to the act of chewing. A modern chimpanzee spends 6 hours every day just grinding food. They have massive jaw muscles that clamp onto their skulls. This physical pressure actually limits how large their brains can grow. Ancient humans who cooked only needed 45 minutes to eat. Suddenly, they had 5 extra hours of free time every day. What do you do with 5 hours of extra life? You do not just sit there in silence. You start making better tools to defend your family. You start observing the patterns of the stars and seasons. You start talking to the people sitting across from you. Cooking created the first home base in human history. Before fire, the world was a place of constant movement. You ate where you found food and kept moving. But a fire requires someone to stay and feed the flames. It requires a team to gather wood and watch the perimeter. This forced our ancestors to cooperate in ways they never had. They had to share the food they had worked to prepare. They had to communicate to keep the social peace. The hearth became the center of the human universe. It was a circle of light in a world of predators. Fire turned the terrifying night into a productive day. Under the safety of the flames, storytelling was born. Information became as important as calories for survival. Sharing a story about a predator saved lives tomorrow. Sharing a story about a distant water hole ensured future safety. Our ancestors were not just filling their stomachs. They were building the hard drive of human civilization. This is why you feel so calm sitting by a fireplace. This is why you love the smell of a backyard barbecue. Your brain is remembering a time when fire meant safety. It is remembering the moment we won the energy war. Every time you cook a meal, you are honoring that victory. You are using a technology that reshaped your very skeleton. Your small teeth and nimble hands are biological thank you notes. They are tributes to the ancestors who chose to experiment. They sat in the dirt and turned raw wood into light. They turned a cold, dangerous world into a home. We often feel overwhelmed by the modern world. We stress over emails and deadlines and social media. We feel like we are failing at being human. But remember that your body is a marvel of efficiency. You carry the legacy of millions of years of ingenuity. You are the result of a long line of survivors. They didn't just survive the elements, they mastered them. They found a way to fuel the most complex machine known, so the next time you are waiting for your microwave to beep, or the next time you are frustrated with a complex recipe, take a moment to look at the steam rising from the plate. You are participating in the most important ritual in history. You are eating the fuel that built the modern world. You are not just a consumer in a capitalist society. You are a member of a species that tamed the sun, and that is something truly worth remembering. If you enjoyed this deep dive, subscribe and hit the bell. We are exploring the ancient why of every human habit. Leave a comment about what ancient mystery we should solve next. And remember, you are always going to cook the food. It is in your nature to seek the light. Stay curious and stay connected to your history. Because the past is not dead, it is in your kitchen. It is in your blood, and it is in your brain. Thank you for being part of this community. We will see you in the next exploration of our past. Until then, take care of that expensive brain of yours. Feed it well and give it a rest sometimes. You have earned it through thousands of years of survival. Your ancestors would be proud of what you have built. From the first hearth to the modern digital world, it has been a long, incredible journey for our kind, and we are only just beginning to understand it all. Keep asking why, and keep looking for the ancient answers. The world is full of secrets waiting to be found, and we will find them together, one story at a time. Good night from the ancient circle of firelight. May your rest be as peaceful as a safe cave. You are a survivor, and you are never truly alone. The fire is still burning, right inside of you. Keep it lit, and keep moving forward into the light. That is the ancient way of being human.